Hi. So I was just thinking about that I'm really tired at the moment and stressed. And it's not anything out of ordinary, the reason I'm stressed, but well, some of you probably know that I live on a farm and it's winter and this is a new farm actually. And we had a huge snowstorm on Monday and there's just like so much shit. Things like, so we had these electric waterers for the horses that are supposed to refill automatically and they're supposed to stay warm as well. And it just all goes to shit when the weather gets really cold. Like all this stuff that's supposed to be working is not working. And then, so it's just like a load of additional stress that bad weather brings when you live on a farm. And like the amount of times that we fix these waterers and the pipes keep freezing and shit like that. And so it's just like, it's super stressful. And I totally have been comfort eating this last couple of days. And you know what? That's exactly what I need to do when I'm stressed about stuff. And I was just thinking about that because, it's like people always, not people, like people, those people out there, talk about comfort eating as if it's a bad thing. It isn't. Like, I've been stressed. That means that my body has been running at a higher gear than it would usually run, even if I haven't been physically doing anything different. And so it stands to reason that my body would need more food. And so, yeah, I've been eating a shit ton of chocolate, which reminds me, do not email me about sponsorship on this channel unless you are a chocolate company. Right? I'm just not interested. I keep getting these beauty product companies and Fitbit type shit emailing me about will I mention the product? No. The only thing that I'm going to try and test is stuff like chocolate. And you have to send it in box loads because I need a lot to make sure it's okay. All right, here we go. Hi, Tabitha. Is it normal to have depression, anxiety attack, and other mental health problems in recovery? How do you deal with horrible body image and crying? Body image is a product of fear of weight gain. And so the way to get rid of negative body image is to rewire fear of weight gain, because it's fear of weight gain that your brain believes that weight gain is a threat to you. And so when your brain believes that something is a threat to you, your brain's job is to keep you away from that threat. So when your brain believes that weight gain is a threat to you, then it's going to use emotion to try and steer you away from further gaining weight. And that's what negative body image is about. Your brain's using negative emotions to say, don't do that. Anyway, but the question there was, is it normal to have depression, anxiety attack, and other mental health problems? Normal is a funny word, isn't it? It's not abnormal. It's really not. Depression, I didn't get really bad depression in recovery. I was kind of depressed before I went into recovery, but a lot of people do. And a lot of people, I wrote about this, I think, quite a bit in my book, Rehabilitate, Rewire, Recover. I sent a whole section on the different types, like the functional aspects of depression. I do believe that depression can sometimes be a relatively functional thing. It can make you lie low and just look after yourself and get better. It's a bit like your body wants to crawl up in a hole and do nothing but eat and rest, which is entirely appropriate if you think about it. But it's definitely not. Functional or helpful if depression leads to apathy or anything like that. So I just think that if you have those sorts of things going on, you do actually need to talk to a mental health professional about those things. Treat them alongside the eating disorder. So you've got to treat the eating disorder with food and neural rewiring. Treat them alongside the eating disorder if they are a detriment to your recovery. If you're still doing recovery and you're like, I feel a little bit depressed, anxious and shit like that, but it's not awful, I can cope, then you may well find that full recovery alleviates a lot of those things. I'm a lot less anxious than I was when I was in energy deficit. If you think about it, your body not having enough energy is really fucking stressful for your body. So of course it's going to be anxious and probably a bit depressed and all those things. So it may well be that those things are caused by your eating disorder or linked with your eating disorder or provoked by your eating disorder. But also, you just life's too short to deal with stuff like that. I think when there are things out there that can help us, I'm talking about medication. I know that most people with eating disorders like, I'm not taking medication because my body is a temple. It's just bullshit, isn't it? If you restrict food, your body's not a temple. You're basically starving that temple, so it's not a very rich temple, is it? But I was the same when I was in recovery. I was like, no, not doing anything like that. I really fucking should have. Honestly, I should have. I should have gone and got some medication to help me lower my anxiety. That probably would have given me a much easier ride, especially that initial little bit when you were deciding to go into recovery. If you're in a state where cannabis is legal, I really highly recommend it for reducing anxiety. But do it properly. Go somewhere and get a prescription and actually, like sort out what type you need for yourself. Don't just, anyway. Okay. Oh my goodness, you guys, there's a lot of stuff here. Adam says, now that I'm in real recovery, I see that I used to ask tons of questions as a way to delay fully committing. So I wanted to feel like I had all the answers before starting. It's ironic, really, because now I see that 99% of the questions have the same answer. Who cares? Go eat. It's so true. And as a recovery coach, this is what I get over and over again. There's all these questions, there's all these things. And what I end up saying to people is, there's only one question that you need to focus on. When all these doubts come into your mind, just go back to one simple question. Am I in recovery, yes or no? Because if the answer is yes, then this doubt that's running through my mind of what if my best friend's sister's friend doesn't like me anymore when I'm recovered from my eating disorder is not going to make you restrict food and not be in recovery, is it? Like all the random stuff that goes through our heads when we're trying to make the decision, am I in recovery or not? And it really should be as simple as, am I in recovery or not? Yes or no? And if the answer is no, then I'm not. And if the answer is yes, then I can't restrict, I can't compulsively exercise, I can't purge, I can't do any of that shit. You're very welcome, Danielle, and hello. What are the top 3 things you would tell your old self as you look back now? God, like before I went into recovery. You're a fucking moron. That's number 1, because I really was. You're like proud, stubborn fucking moron. No, that's not very helpful, is it? What else would I tell myself? I really would just tell myself, just eat the fucking food and stop making up excuses and act as if you want to gain weight, because I know that you think you want to gain weight, but you are still acting as if you're afraid of weight gain. And if you continue to act as if you're afraid of weight gain, your brain will continue to fear weight gain, and you're going to go around in these circles and your life will be miserable. Force yourself to eat the fucking food. And I really, really wish that somebody had said that to me when I was 19. I really wish that. Or they probably might have done. I wouldn't have listened. So what I actually really wish was listen. So another thing I tell myself is listen. Listen to your mother. Because she was right. She was right the whole way along. And if you had listened to your mother when you were 18, then you would have saved pretty much all of your 20s being trashed and no fun. And you would have actually had fun at university if you had listened to your mother when you were 18, because she knew that you weren't okay and you wouldn't have it and you wouldn't listen. You told her to shut up and you went to university anyway and you fucked up a good 10 years of your life. Listen to mum. She's always right. That's like the number 1 thing that I would have said to myself, because my mum did know. My mum totally saw it like a month into my restriction when nobody else had a clue and I hadn't even lost that much weight or anything. My mum knew it and she called it right then. And I was like, shut up, mum, I'm fine. You don't know what you're talking about. Of course I was. Because as I said, I was a stubborn moron. And if I had listened to my mother, then I could have had fun in my late teens and my 20s. And that's one of my biggest regrets about having an eating disorder, because I went to university and did all that stuff, but I spent the whole time in the gym. I didn't really live. I didn't have a life. And I just missed those years that people are supposed to be out having fun and stuff like that. And yeah, so that, I don't know if I said 3, but definitely the main one is listen to your mum. All right, I have to go in a minute. All in recovery. How did you learn everything you know? Well, I had anorexia for 10 years. So it was like a pretty good education in how to have an eating disorder. And then I recovered without any help. But that is not to say that that's the way to do it. Like, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And I don't want to go into that now, because that's not, I don't know. I've worked with a lot of people with eating disorders, and I had to work out a lot of my own brain stuff in order to recover, and I had to push through a lot of fear, and I also never never at all bought the psychoanalytical eating disorder explanation. So I started to look into and research, well, what might be a different explanation. And then sort of migration theory, I started learning about animals migrating, and I looked into that. I did a fuck ton of research into migration theory and stuff like that. And yeah, that's so, and wrote lots. All right. All right, one more. Oh God, I can't see for looking. I completed my MP today. I imagine that's meal plan. Freaking out because I feel so fat and ugly and disgusting. Blah, 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 eating disorder talking. If you want to recover, then you're just going to have to get a bit of a grip, breathe. When I say get a grip, I'm not being flippant with that. I mean, literally, you've got to breathe. You've got to get your sympathy. You've got to get your nervous system under control, because that, when you write like that, I feel so fat and disgusting and stuff like that. I know that you're in your sympathetic nervous system, which is where your eating disorder resides. And what you need to do is you need to get back into your parasympathetic nervous system, which is where the happy, nice, real you and the soon to be recovered you and the sensible you resides. That's your healthy brain. So a couple of long, slow, deep breaths. Don't try and rationalize. Don't try and argue with the fear. The fear's not going to go anywhere. It's going to be there for a while until you've taught your brain that you're not afraid of weight gain. And now that you're thinking a little bit clearly and you've had a couple of breaths, you're going to understand, oh shit, yeah, my brain's acting as if I'm afraid of weight gain because I just ate more food than I would usually. So the way that I have to actually continue to educate my brain and teach my brain that I'm not afraid of weight gain would be to eat even more food. And that is precisely what I'm telling you to do. Couple of deep breaths, get back into your parasympathetic nervous system, and then go and eat more food to prove to your brain that you're not afraid of eating food and that you are not put off by its kind of like trying to scare you. It's trying to, don't eat so much. That's what your brain's doing. And you're going to go, I'm not afraid of you. Here's how I prove it. And if you're going to go and eat more food, don't make it a carrot or an apple. Go and eat chocolate or cheese or burgers and fries, milkshakes, just ice cream. Go and eat highly caloric food that you're afraid of, because that's what's going to teach your brain that you are not afraid of weight gain. And I know that you feel like you're afraid of weight gain, but you have to train your brain that you're not. And what's going to do that is your actions. So well done. You ate more food than usual. That's great. Now is the chance that you get to really push that home to your brain and be like, listen, who's in control here? It's me, and I'm going to eat more fucking food because I'm not afraid of weight gain. Just do it. It'll work. All right, guys. I have to go. Lots of love. Bye.